Yo, Thought Warriors. Higher Learning is on. It is I, Van Lathan Jr.
And it's me, Rachel and Lindsay.
Rachel, I want to read you a tweet. And you tell me whether or not this tweet is too far now. Okay.
Too far?
Too far, yes.
Okay.
So there is a video of Sierra that has gone viral. And it's Sierra. She's bouncing around. She looks so, fun and fancy free. But here's the thing. Sierra has got the baby benefit body, okay? It happens. I'm from the South. And so I've seen slim thick turn into goddamn so many times after you have a baby. My daddy, God rest his soul, used to look at a woman and go, yeah, that's a beautiful woman, but she a baby away from being a bad motherfucker. Because you could tell. Because the baby gives you this womanliness and it happens all the time. So Sierra, in this video, I could tell that she looks great. She's looking as good as she's ever looked to me, right? And so I tweeted the following. Russell Wilson must play on. We need at least 3 years of Sierra looking like this. And if he's at home, he will ruin it for us with his greedy loins because he likes to impregnate her and then she'll be busy taking care of herself, being a mama, and not posting the stuff with her new goddamn body. This is a compliment to her and me saying that Russell should play football rather than retire. Because if he's at home, I know that she's just going to get pregnant again, and I can see why. And I think people have a problem with this. And do you think it's not good, is my question to you.
So people are mad at you for writing this tweet.
They're not mad. They're saying, hey, that's a married woman. I'll send the video to you.
I'm looking at the video right now.
Okay. So
she looks fantastic.
She looks amazing, right? But she's also, she's bouncing around in, what is that? That's a bathing suit of some sort, or like a top and a bikini bottom.
And what was she posting? It doesn't matter what she's posting for. Okay. Are you wrong? I don't know if wrong is the word.
Okay. Keep it real.
But it's definitely none of your business. How about that?
It's none of whose business?
Yours.
What's none of my business?
So, it is your business that Sierra put this video out here, and obviously for people to see. She looks happy. She's feeling herself. You can tell she feels beautiful. There's a lot of joy going on in this video. Yeah, no, she looks fantastic. But what I really like about it is she looks happy and free. Like, if this, you could just write joy under this, and I'd be like, I get it. So, yeah, you're free to comment on, obviously she's putting it out here, what she looks like, how she looks like she's feeling, all of that. But as far as the marriage and you telling Russell what he should and shouldn't do, none of your business, right? And it's the last line I think that people might have a bit of an issue with, you talking, not just you talking about her as a married woman, you also being in your own partnership. And and I quote, and if he's home, he will ruin it for us. What will he ruin?
He will ruin it for...
What exactly is he ruining?
Can I answer the question?
Go ahead.
You want me to answer the question? Okay.
That's the energy? Great. We keeping that all podcast. Let's go.
What I'm saying is, what I'm sort of, I like to have conversations and challenge me. But what he's, because there's an answer to this.
Okay.
What he's ruining is, if she's pregnant, we don't get sexy Sierra pictures anymore.
So maybe that's where people are getting a little offended. You say he will ruin it for us.
Sexy Sierra pictures, yes, will be ruined because there won't be any. There'll be, she's glowing, beautiful, maternal Sierra pictures, which is great. But sexy Sierra pictures will be ruined. And I don't think that there's anything wrong with saying, hey, we like looking at sexy Sierra pictures. Is that okay?
Well, I think it's the implication that she's only sexy like this. maybe that I
What do you
for
mean?
argument's sake, I'm doing this. I don't really think it's that big of a deal. But for you're implying that she is only sexy in this form.
How am
When
I
you
implying that?
Because you said if she's pregnant, then he ruins it for us. As if, and you said you want sexy Ciara, as if, so it follows sexy Ciara is this and not when she's this.
Okay. So I'll say this right now. I don't objectify, which is what's happening here, right?
Yes.
I don't objectify and look for the sex appeal in pregnant ladies. There is a whole genre for that. I've never been into it. I've seen it and I've clicked past it. Not for me. To me, pregnant lady means you get the world at your fingertips for 9 months. Get it easy. We take it easy. We make sure you have it easy and all of that stuff. No objectification for pregnant lady. No objectification. All right. Once again, there's a whole genre for that. To each their own. So so all I'm saying is, when I say like this, I mean not pregnant, because I don't objectify the pregnant woman.
You don't, right? So that is how you view sexiness, right? There are limitations, I guess, to sexiness, because you, not saying that you're not saying pregnant women are beautiful, you just wouldn't use the word sexy to define it. I've never been in this situation before. Like, I've never been a pregnant woman showing off my body and things like that. But when I do hear women talk, my friends that have been pregnant or currently are pregnant, they start to feel a certain way, some of them, about themselves. Like, they don't feel as sexy. They don't feel as beautiful. And so I could see somebody who might be pregnant right now, or, is post-pregnancy, or, about to become pregnant, has been pregnant, whatever the situation is, might take offense to what you're saying, as if maybe as if they can't also be sexy as well. I'm just saying I could see it.
Okay. Pregnant women are beautiful. Like, you see a pregnant woman and you're like, oh my God, beautiful. Everything about it, the skin changes, the experience of the woman, they're beautiful. Is it okay if pregnant women aren't sexy? Like, they should be sexy to the people that but like, pregnant women, beautiful, beautiful. I love seeing a woman pregnant, particularly a woman that is like, showing and like happy and, all of that. It's amazing to see. But is it okay to say that, like, pregnant women, it's not sexy? You don't go, ooh, damn, she had 7 months. That's crazy. That's bussing. Damn, she looked like she in her 3rd trimester. That do it for me. Oh my God.
Is that what comes when you say sexy? See, this is where
sexy,
it's like...
Sexy it's something that inspires, because I want to know the level of righteousness that has to exist. When you say something is sexy, to me, that inspires, oh my God, it's sexy, it's desirable. Like, when I see Ciara jumping around in that picture, I think, by the way, I think that she wants to be seen as sexy, which is why this picture is out, right? So when I see Ciara jumping around in that picture, I go, oh my God, she is sexy. She looks amazing, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I don't look at a woman that's like, she's pregnant, and then I go, damn, she look good. She about to pop any minute, man. Like, it is like, that's sexy. That's crazy. Like, that's wrong though?
I mean, I see women when they're pregnant take these very sexy baby photos, right?
Right.
They're in lingerie, like, they have their bellies out, they're naked, they're covering up their breasts. And that is a form of sexiness to me. They are, now, I think, and this is where it comes a man's version maybe versus a woman's version.
Sure.
When I say sexy, I'm like, oh my gosh, it's so sexy. I'm not thinking of like, oh, that's like, I want to hit it. Like, that's how, I guess, what you attach your connotation of a sexiness. Like, when you think sexy, that's what you would attach to it. But when I see a woman who's doing the jeans with no top and with her belly. She wants to be seen as, that's sexy. I'm pregnant and I'm sexy. So I think that
Interesting.
this tweet takes that away from her, but I think there's a different version. I don't think either one's wrong. I just think there's a different version of how women would deem sexiness versus a man. I don't think she's doing it because she wants people to say like, "Ooh, she's desirable. I can't wait to get at that." It's how she feels. Women, they want to feel like they still have it. And the baby's not, snatching away their beauty or their sex appeal. They're still very feminine. They're very woman. They're very desirable. And I think that's why you see a lot of women do those type of photo shoots when they are pregnant, because they want to be seen that way. And I think your tweet can be looked at as it takes that power or that away from women.
So let me ask you this. So when you think of a man, are there men that you would describe as sexy?
For sure.
Okay. Men that you see? But see that? You see what you just said? Sexy.
But I'm not thinking sex.
I know, but at some point you are thinking sex. When you say sexy, because
That's not true.
Because there's cute, and then there's handsome, and then there's sexy. By the way, I'll say something here. The only reason why I'm saying this, so Ian, we were riding
Ian stays taking L's on this podcast.
We were riding in the car one time, and Ian's first wife, my sister, forever, the mother of my niece and nephew, Katrina Parker, when they were still dating. There was these two twin Kappas that were on Southern's campus, and they just were called the twins. Now, this is what happened, Rachel. When Gino pledged Kappa, the crew was we were a little intimidated.
Y'all didn't like it.
It's not that we didn't like it, but we were wondering, was Gino going to become a Kappa more than he was player proof? Most of us
Fair question.
Most of us just kind of went along with it.
Mm-hmm.
But Ian had a war against Kappa for like 6 months to a year. So he would see a Kappa and he would just like diss a Kappa. And so we in the car one time, all piled in his little car. And Gino disses the twins. Or Ian disses the twins. And Katrina said, "Man, the twins sexy."
In front of him.
Yes! And I, of course, embellished my laugh to further insult Ian. And Ian went off. He didn't go off on her because he's not the kind of guy to like scream at a lady, but he was just like, sexy? That mean you want to have sex with him? And then he would do this thing back in the day where he would describe sex in a very like graphic way to let you know what you're saying. So you want to open your legs and receive cock from the twin.
That sounds like something you would say. Honestly. Ian's not alone.
Interesting though. But no, you know what? This is interesting because I'm probably toxic on this. Donnie, give me a toxic point. I'm probably toxic on this because I think as a woman's pregnancy as a time to like leave her alone, like not feel that she's like, it's almost like, oh, she's pregnant, she's with child, like treat her in a way that
you want to be delicate. You want to be delicate.
Delicate, right? And you don't want to be like, oh my God. I understand that women still want to feel beautiful, but I put beautiful and sexy in two different categories.
They are, I get that.
Yeah, beautiful, here, sexy is like, ooh, here's a little ass for you. That inspires something in men. So I'm like, oh, sexy is something different. I wouldn't say that a pregnant woman, now there are plenty of people that think pregnant women are and like them when they're pregnant, and that's a whole genre, like I said before. But I look at that, I look at it different, is what I'm saying. So, but I get, your point is well taken, though.
Yeah,
And maybe this
I
means
think
that just don't objectify women, period, and you won't have this problem, maybe.
yeah, that is the point. That is the bottom line for sure. But I respect the fact that you do see women like a woman that's not yours. But I would, if you were with a woman that was pregnant, I think you also have to take into effect that a lot of women, when they're pregnant, or so I've been told, have been are very there's like sexuality is heightened. Like they want it more. For some women that goes through that. So they want to feel sexy at the same time too. I think it's more of a feeling of sexy that when you see women do that when they're pregnant. But again, what do I know?
Before we get off
It's
this,
not for me.
is it not okay? So, because I really want people to listen to this conversation and learn something. We got to learn something from each other. So, when is it okay to objectify someone? If you are...
When they say it's okay.
What'd you say?
When they say it's okay.
Okay, so what I'm saying is, what then would be, how would they say it's okay? Because no one's going to post a picture and then go, hey, objectify me. But
You're
if you
right.
post a picture and you are shaking your butt in a bikini, or if you're a guy and you're showing off, you're doing your whole thing, it's a shirtless deal, or if, like, when is it okay? Because I think that sometimes making people see that you're sexy, I feel like objectification is the point of posting some of this stuff.
Okay, let me ask you this. Does objectifying mean you have to be disrespectful?
What's no, but I mean, disrespectful would be...
So Ciara posts this video. She obviously is feeling herself, right? She feels happy. She feels like she looks good. She wants everybody to see it. Why else would you post it, right? So there's a level of her. When somebody tells you it's okay, she's not saying it, but her actions are showing that she's showing you her body, right? She's almost objectifying herself. So when I say, can you objectify somebody without being disrespectful? If you're looking at her and you're like this person who retweeted this said, Ciara, damn. Not disrespectful, right? Yeah. Ciara, wow, she's beautiful. Ciara, wow, like your post-baby body is amazing. Ciara, wow, even if they're like, your butt looks great. She's showing us her butt. But if somebody says, objectifies her in a way that's disrespectful, where it's like, damn, Ciara, I'm not talking like that. But you know what? No, I'm not doing it.
Rachel,
but if they Mark Robinson did, with that, then I think it becomes problematic. Don't be disrespectful in your objectification. Does that make sense?
That makes a lot of sense. But once again, though, that's basically just saying don't disrespect. If Ciara does this and you go, I can't wait to bend that. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's disrespectful. Like, but saying, hey, I get what you're saying. But like, what I'm saying is, if you say Ciara, damn, because they're like, this is a married woman that you're talking about. Her being married doesn't have anything to do with it. There's a Beyonce commercial that like for a jean commercial, the jean commercial comes on, the jean commercial is focused on Beyonce's ass. Beyonce wants us to know that she has a good butt and she's okay with it.
And her jeans look great in it.
She looks great in it, and that's okay. So it's okay, in my opinion, to say, hey, Beyonce is sexy, Ciara is sexy. It's okay to say those people are sexy if they are leading with sexuality. Now, it's not okay to disrespect them and talk about how you want to do them and all of that type of stuff like that, which would never happen. But it's okay, even if you're in a relationship, to look at Ciara, to look at Beyonce, to look at any of these people. So, I don't think I think that disrespect is disrespect, but objectification is part of the deal when someone is leading with sex.
When they're telling you it's okay to. You're right. No one's going to say, hey, now it's the time to objectify me. But her actions and these pictures that she's putting out, and I was looking for it just now on my phone. When she's in the red outfit, she says something about, acknowledges Russell, kind of like when he lets you be yourself or he lets you do whatever. I couldn't find it, but I saw it on some blog quickly. And her husband's obviously okay with it. I think that's the other thing. I'm sure she showed pictures to Russell. I'm sure she showed, or if she didn't, I'm sure it's okay. They have an understanding. He doesn't have a problem with it. And I think that's a part of it too. She's putting it out there, but it's okay for her to do it within her relationship. I don't think that that's a problem as well. But yeah, like, I think maybe people overreact when you hear the word objectify, and maybe I even did when you first read the text message, not text message, your tweet. But I think when somebody puts it out there in their actions, then it's okay. But like, don't cross the line.
Say something. Russell Wilson and Ciara are going to be together forever. I'll tell you why I think so. There's a pizza joint in New Orleans for a pop-up. They walk in. Russell is dressed pretty regularly. Super Bowl weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Russell's dressed pretty regularly. He's got, black shirt on, black pants, probably all very expensive, Balenciaga or something like that. Looks good, but he's dressed regularly. Comes in, says hello to everybody. Very nice man. Says hello to everybody. Football hands. Doesn't matter how big or small the football player is. When you shake the hand of a football player, you see why they are who they are and you are who you are. Because they got mitts as hands. Mitts. Strong hands. Russell Wilson, he says hello to everyone. Mm-hmm. You can probably guess who I was with at this pizza pop-up in New Orleans. If I'm meeting celebrities, you can probably guess who I was with.
Anthony?
One Mr. Tommy Alter.
Oh. Of course.
So he comes in basically on his regular guy steez. She comes in a little bit later, but not too much later, like maybe like 30 seconds or a minute later. Maybe I just noticed her later. Complete superstar aura. She from head to toe is in this red outfit. She's got a couple of people with her. She says hello as well. She actually looked at me and said, "It's good to see you." She's very magnanimous, the whole thing. And he in no way was dimming her light or trying to take from her. I've seen that situation before with celebrity couples in Hollywood where the woman is maybe more famous. I don't know if she's necessarily more famous than Russell Wilson, but I do know if there's a photographer out there, it's going to be Ciara, right? And the man, you can tell, is uncomfortable with that a little bit. I did not see any of that between them. I saw her with her own gravity, her own orbit, and I saw somebody that was really, really comfortable and secure in that. Just real talk. And it was noticeable.
That's hard to find. That's hard to find, and that's really beautiful. It is beautiful if they have it. She came up to you, Van, and said, "It's good to see you."
She did.
Isn't that an LA thing?
She kept it real.
Isn't that an LA thing?
It is.
Nice to see you again. Nice to see you.
No, she didn't say again. She just said it's nice to see you.
Nice to see you. That's an LA thing.
It's a very LA thing. But look, the reality is, it's, as a black man, as somebody who, in this world that's changing, sisters is kind of taking us over, leaving us behind, just that acknowledgement, as a black man in a world where we kind of getting pushed to the side. By the way, as a straight black man, as a black man who's just, from the South, who doesn't have no upper level degree type of situation, with all of these people telling me that my masculinity should be put to the back burner and who I am should be muted, you know what I'm saying? Like, with all of that, it was just good that somebody acknowledged me and said it was good to see me. Because as a black man, like, I personally think that what's going on with us and the erasure of the masculine man is just something that we don't talk about enough. So it was good to see a woman with traditional values. You know what I'm saying? That made me feel good. It made me feel good because I didn't have a father. Okay, let's move on.
Everybody welcome TK Kirkland back to the show. Because that's the energy you're giving right now.
That's how y'all niggas sound to me, by the way. I can hear y'all cry. I can hear the tears. I can hear the tears. I just want to hug y'all. Donnie, should we get started with politics?
Yeah, let's do that. And I feel like this is a good transition to react to something else that you said. But let's give it some context first. Kamala Harris was speaking at the Leading Women Defined Summit, where she had this to say about the state of our country.
There is a sense of fear that has been taking hold in our country. And I understand it. But we're saying people stay quiet. We are seeing organizations stay quiet. We are seeing those who are capitulating to clearly unconstitutional threats. And these are the things that we are witnessing each day in these last few months in our country. And it understandably creates a great sense of fear. Because, there were many things that we knew would happen. Many things. I'm not here to say I told you so.
Last week, Van was on CNN's Newsnight with Abby Phillip, and he spoke about what Ms. Harris had to say, and this is what you said.
I will say this, though. They're about to be mad at me. I don't like this.
Like what?
I don't like the I told you so stuff, man. I don't like it.
It's true.
It's true. It's definitely true. All of it was predicted. We need to listen to black women. We need to prioritize black women in leadership, all of that. But when people are struggling and when people are confused, I do not think it strikes the right chord to be like, I told you so. And
I agree with that.
I just don't think that it does. And I think that coming from the left right now, the leadership needs to be stronger about what their messaging is. Not about, I told you so, but I tell you how you're going to be better. I've been getting my goddamn fat ass kicked.
Should.
Okay? Kicked in my balls, kicked in my butthole. Because of this. And, people are calling me out left and right. Rach, your thoughts?
Well, first off, I would like to acknowledge the fact that the clips are back. Can we just have a moment to acknowledge that? We got clips back, we got sound back, we got video back to our podcast.
Yeah.
Went 2-3 weeks without it. It was hell. You're wrong, Van. You're wrong. You're wrong. If Kamala Harris went to this Leading Women Define Summit and got up on that podium and said, I told y'all so, and walked off, you would be right. It would make sense. But she spoke at great length about the state of our country. And at that clip that we just saw, she was about to say, I told you so, stopped herself and was like, I don't want to say I told you so. And she laughs and the audience laughs with her and she continues to go on and on and on. You did, my friend, what the other side does. You took one statement and you harped on it when what she had to say was so much bigger and so much meaningful than that. She was speaking to Black women. This was about women and, being powerful, unifying. It was about sisterhood. It was about overcoming fear and having the courage to step out and do more, to not be defeated and exhausted by the things that are happening in our country, to come together. And it was off the heels of what we saw Cory Booker do on the Senate floor, which I feel like is encouraging more people to speak up. I think you took this and ran with it, and I think it was unnecessary. I really do. And I just think, I think I just kind of said it all there. I'm actually shocked that that's the point that you took. When we see the other side do is take one statement, or an expression or an action, and they harp on that and make us focus on that rather than focusing on the whole.
Right.
Rather than focusing on, people have a problem with, and you weren't alone, a lot of people on the far right had a problem with her saying this, which, as Abby Phillips said, it is true. But she went on to say why it was true. Not just saying, you should have voted for me, and because you didn't, this is what happened, which she could say. And that would be wrong for the people who are being affected by the Trump administration and will continue to be affected, but she didn't. She said, we have to come together and we have to continue to fight. You have to fight on even though I'm not the one in office. You have to fight on even though the policies that I told you would come to fruition are coming to fruition and the people are hurting. She said, keep going. And I think that's the message that we have to focus on. not the fact that she said, I told you so. And
Well said. So this is what I would say. Number one, the entire message of the clip is not what I was asked to discuss. It's not what we were discussing on the show. You'll see that tonight as you do the show. So we weren't asked to discuss. It's just facts.
But you have to bring in context, though.
But, well, number one, I hadn't seen the whole thing because it had just been put into the show. I hadn't seen the whole thing. The only thing I can do, I did put into context. By the way, I'm not disagreeing with what you said, and I'm not anybody who had a problem with what I said. I'll say things and you'll have a problem with them. Like Elon Musk says, I will say things and I will make mistakes. But I contextualized it by saying this doesn't depower who Kamala Harris is as a Black woman or as a Black woman leader. It doesn't. But I'm going to tell you that I don't like this type of talk coming from the left. And I'll tell you why. I think that if we are going to talk about the current state of America, if we're going to talk about voters and talk to people, being punitive about it. And by the way, this is a lesson I've learned here on this podcast. If you remember, when we started here, when we talked about the deportations or when we talked about any of that stuff, what would I say? I would laugh. I talk about particularly with the Latino community. I would laugh and I would say, hey, you voted for this. And now it's coming home to roost, and that's fair. That's the way that it goes, right? That's not right. It wasn't right for me to do it then, and I've said since it wasn't right for me to do that, right? So it's not right to scold people or say that I told you so or do any of that stuff because people are still in a position right now where they need to know what to do in order to get themselves out of the situation that a lot of them put themselves in. But it's not just the people that voted for the stuff that are in that situation, it's all of us. So the messaging that I want to hear coming out of the left is, what do we need to do and how do we do it? And what are they proposing?
Right.
It seems like the Democrats, the big Democrats, are either scolding or folding. They're either waving their finger at you, right? Or they are completely capitulating to what's happening on the right, as we saw the Senate Democrats do a little while ago. So to me, what I want to hear from the Democrats or what I want to hear from the people that I caucus with is how they have crafted a vision for America, what it looks like moving forward to be on the left. That's what I want to hear. So in that particular point, in that particular instance, I'm looking at Vice President Harris and saying, I'm tired of hearing this type of refrain from Democratic politicians. I want to hear, and I said this about President Obama too, as it related to, him talking about Donald Trump. President Obama is up there. If I would have done this, if I would have done this, if I would have done this, who fucking cares? President Obama, you are the leader and the most revered voice in the Democratic Party, right? Who cares about you and what you said and what you would have done and where you are? Who cares? What type of vision is being put together on the left so that people will be mobilized to go out and vote for Democrats and change the reality of America's political present? What are you guys doing? What are you guys giving people? What are you talking about to people? What are you going to do? What is this? What is that? Like, what's happening? Because the other side is bad, didn't work. It lost. Like that law, that I'm not conjecturing that it might lose,
Sure.
but it lost.
Mm-hmm.
That lost. So to me, I think that the Democrats need a course correction. And that course correction is not to continue to talk about how bad things are going to be with Donald Trump in office right now. They already did that, and he's in office. What are you guys going to do? Where do you stand on the World Economic Order? Where do you stand on environmental justice? And where's all of that stuff has to be hit harder. I'm not saying they didn't do it.
Correct.
I'm
That's
saying
what I
they
was
didn't
gonna
do
say.
it well enough.
Correct. So, you know, I agree with what you're saying. We talked about it before. They need a vision. They need a leader. They need to get on the same page and prioritize what the American people want. And that messaging needs to directly, go down into the communities to them, because that did not happen this last election. They were trying to please too many different groups. Prioritize it, figure it out, get the messaging to them. That's what the Republicans did well, even if it was a lie. They did it, and people voted on it. I took issue to what you said about Kamala Harris because it was just more than that. But I understand the sentiment of the frustration of it can't just be that. I don't think it was just that for her. Same with President Obama. It wasn't just that. There was more that was said. And I know we keep saying we want a vision.
Real quick, not to cut you off, but we have to. I do feel like that, right? What you're doing right now is that's just not the way that this works. Because a couple of weeks from now, you said that the other side does this. This is what happens. Donald Trump will make a whole statement and he'll say a whole thing, right? And then the part that distills his message, the phrase or the quote or whatever, we'll pick that apart in terms of what he means. Because oftentimes, that is very appropriate to do. So, I mean, obviously, in a whole conversation about everything that Kamala Harris meant, or what Kamala Harris said, or what Barack Obama meant, or what Barack Obama said, you're being charitable to them by kind of not, I don't feel the need to be charitable to them. When Barack Obama says they wouldn't be doing this to me, that's your headline. When Kamala Harris said, I told you so, that's going to be your headline. When Donald Trump says whatever, and he said, that's going to be your headline. And they're talkers for a living. They got to know that it's not up to me to put what they said in context, like in its totality, when they are the people that shape policy and make the rules for the world. Okay.
So this is what I'll say. I think what President Obama did was worse. Former President Obama. He made it about him. Well, if I did this is, they would say this. Doesn't matter. Her saying, I told you so, people getting mad at her saying, I told you so, she's correct. She's telling you, I told you so. And the reason she can say that is because this is what's happening. You shouldn't be mad at her for saying it. You should be mad at for what he's doing. And that would be my headline to respond back. Don't be mad at what I said. Be mad because what I said is true. You shouldn't be mad at my words. You should be mad that these things are happening and you are being affected by them. The Republicans are going to pick apart anything the Democrats say. And even if they use a direct quote like they did here with her, they'll twist and take words or lie, which they do. That's the thing. We're fighting people who are willing to lie, who have no morals, who have no values. All you can do is fight that with having a clear vision that gets down to the people who are going to go to the box or ballots or mail in and vote for you. That's all you can do. You can't sit here and be like, well, the Republicans are going to do this, so we have to watch every little thing that we say or do. I think if you focus so much on that, that is part of losing the message and the vision. What I was going to say was, we say constantly that what is the vision? What are you guys doing? I think, or I guess I like to think, that they are working on something, right? There's so much that's being thrown at us. There's so many things that are changing every single day that what I would like to think is that there is a vision that is going to come out about how the party is going to combat what the Trump administration is doing, what Republicans in Congress are doing, so that they can be ready for the primaries and they can be ready for the midterms, and they can be ready for the next election. I think that we have to keep talking just like you are and saying, this is what we need, this is what we want, this is what we don't like. But if we get fixated on fighting a headline that's negative from the Republicans or have to worry about everything we say for fear of that, I think that's a part of losing the message and the vision. I think we have to focus on what it is that we're focusing on.
Right. So this is my thing. Number one, I'm not fighting for the Democrats.
I know.
Right? And so that's very important to say. It's important to say that because I don't vote for the Democrats because I'm black, right? I vote for the Democrats because their policies are best for black people, in my opinion. Clean water for black kids, like stuff like that. Like, I
Sure.
tend to vote for the funding of HBCUs. Forget about people's cult of personality and who they are and all of that. I don't care about that. And I don't care about the Democrats beating the Republicans as much as I care about the people winning with policy. And the only way that the people will win with policy is if a certain group gets their fucking policy together.
Mm-hmm.
If they get their shit together. So that means that, like, I'm not really here to like take something that somebody says and view it in the most charitable way. Particularly if their message isn't resonating with people. Now, this, to your point, and it's a well-made point, this does not encapsulate everything that Vice President Harris said. And what Obama said doesn't encapsulate everything that President Obama was trying to say. And she was right. She did tell us so. And he is right. We would have gone crazy. It would have been tan suit stuff if Obama would have done some of the stuff that Donald Trump has done. What I'm saying is that doesn't matter. Not to me. What matters is how they're going to craft policy and how they're going to get the positive momentum rolling to get back in power to change some of the things that they got going on. And if I'm put in a chair and somebody asks my opinion of a sentence that somebody says, they are going to get an honest answer every single time. Doesn't matter who says it, whatever. Me going to bat for them is me making sure that people know that I appreciate Kamala Harris's position as a black woman, and I appreciate the leadership of black women. I appreciate that, but I don't like this coming from the top of the left because this is not what I need. This is not what I think they need to be talking about. But like, I mean, and that was it. And so, once again, I just wanted people to know everywhere, I don't fucking work for the Democrats. Like Scott said I was going to criticize Barack Obama on...
yeah, he did, but you already did it for him, is what he said.
I already did it for him. And you know what I said? They don't pay me. I don't work for the fucking Democrats. I don't work for them.
Let me just say this. Even though I said we shouldn't focus on what the other side is doing because they're always going to lie and twist it. And in that moment, when you made that comment about former President Obama, and he said, well, you just did it for me. Your response saying, I don't work for him or the Democrats, I will just say it's similar to me what Charlemagne was doing. When that response is, I'm not saying you're like him, but it's similar to me in that regard, because when Biden was running and then it switched over to Kamala Harris, was very critical in this podcast about the messaging that, Charlemagne was doing, the fact that they used a clip of something he said
totally different
in their promo,
totally
the fact
different.
that he was leveraging Candace Owens. I feel like when your response is, well, I don't work for them, it doesn't mean that you can't say something that's, and I'm not saying I'm not saying it's apples to apples, but the point I'm trying to make is it doesn't mean that you're not going to say something that's not going to be taken as critical or say something that is against the movement or that it combats what the side is, even though you don't identify as them, what the side is that you would vote for. You didn't go that far when you made that comment, but it's still a similar sentiment to me.
To me, the reason why I don't agree is because the trans thing that the Breakfast Club did was on a direct policy point. It was on a direct policy point. It wasn't some amorphous, hey, somebody said this, and it was a direct policy point. that, and not just a direct policy point, but a policy point that is such a flashpoint issue between the left and the right that if you wade into that, you have got to have a more robust conversation about it. All right? And then the Candace Owens thing is a situation to where you bring Candace Owens onto the show, and which some people say this all the time, right? Like we had TK on the show and people looked at what we did with TK and they go, you guys were insufficient in talking to TK. And they have their right to that opinion, right? If they feel like, I should have got up and kicked TK in this chest with spiked boots and did all of that stuff, they are right to have that. They're right to have that. When you put something out and people are listening to your podcast, they are hearing you, and what they really want is for you to echo the sentiments that they have when they feel threatened by an opinion that's dangerous. And
yeah,
if you don't,
I guess.
And if you don't live up to that, that's how they're going to feel.
Yeah.
Me, being in the situation to where, like, what Scott did was a trick bag. It was like, I was going to criticize Barack Obama. I'm not Scott Jennings, meaning I'm not somebody that is going to take whatever a political side does and ride for it despite what's in front of me. I'm not going to do that, because that, to me, that cuts out the actual people. There's a way to have a conversation on trans issues that reflects some people's uncomfortability with the competition in sports. There's a way to have the conversation around trans issues that reflects some people's unwillingness to be as progressive on those issues as we would like them to be. But to just agree with an entire side and an entire method of thinking without actually putting in the real estate or like covering the real estate, should I say, of that issue, to me is a little bit different than saying President Obama said that and I think that we should be messaging differently. I just can't give them that. Yeah.
Correct. I'm not disagreeing with you. I agree. It's not apples to apples. I'm seeing the sentiment of like, well, they don't pay me. I'm not one of them. I don't work for them. Because I guess, and I mean, who knows it's easy to say what you would have done when you're not in the situation. But you're right. It was a trick bag what Scott Jennings did, because he says, well, thank you for criticizing him. And it's like, what you were doing, you weren't you're not critical of Obama in the same way that he is. You were criticizing. Maybe you are.
Maybe in that one instance, I would agree with him. Yeah.
That's my point. But that's not what his sentiment was. His sentiment was, I was going to criticize him, but you did, as if like we're both being critical of him in the same ways, as if you're being critical of him, I'm critical of him, let's move on. It's like, no, you were criticizing him over this one thing because you feel like it hurts in this way. It hurts the messaging in this way. He don't like President Obama for a myriad of reasons, I guess is what I was saying. So it's like my criticism is not the same as your criticism, but whatever.
Yeah, and even in that, what I said was, I wonder if President Obama's relationship, because what we were talking about wasn't the Trump thing. We were talking about the story that President Obama didn't want Kamala Harris to even run and wasn't being supportive of her. And so my question was, I wonder if his reputation is durable enough to survive the fact that he scolded black men, and now some people will look at the fact that he didn't want Kamala Harris, who was the first major black female candidate, for the pedantic people out there, major black female candidate to run for office in terms of she got the nomination. And that was the question. The question was, I wonder if Obama, as the sort of finger wagger in chief, if people will still have the same fuzzy feelings about him knowing that. And that was it. And so, anyway, we spent too long on that because I got sort of defensive, but I don't work for the Democrats, y'all. Donnie, let's wade into the race wars.
Let's do it. Unfortunately, we have to. Austin Metcalf an 11th grader, died after police said another student stabbed him during a fight in the bleachers at a track meet in Frisco, Texas. Now, witnesses report that the fight started after Metcalf told the suspect, Carmelo Anthony, who goes to another high school, to move out from under his team's tent. Now, witnesses report that Anthony allegedly reached inside his bag and said, "Touch me and see what happens." Metcalf allegedly grabbed Anthony to move him, and then Anthony allegedly pulled out what the witnesses described as a black knife and stabbed Austin once in the chest and then ran away. Carmelo Anthony has been charged with first-degree murder. Thoughts on the incident and the fallout that is taking place afterwards?
This is
Your
going
neck
to
of the
be
woods.
tough. Hmm?
Your neck of the woods.
Well, this is going to be tough. I think stand your ground law is always tricky, even more so than the castle doctrine, which, is you being in your house or your vehicle or in your workplace, whereas stand your ground is just, it could be anywhere. The thing that I keep thinking about, in particular to Austin, who lost his life, and Carmelo, who is claiming self-defense, is that it seems like all the witnesses, the people who are going to tell the story, are all going to be from Austin's side. Austin died in the arms of his identical twin brother. It's alleged that Carmelo was by their school's tent. It sounds like everybody around was with Austin and his schoolmates, teammates, and Carmelo was by himself. If that's the only perspective that you're getting, it's going to be really hard, I think. I mean, witnesses are already, from the little that's come out, are saying that he was sitting under the tent, that Austin told him to leave, that he reached in his bag, grabbed a knife, stabbed him, and ran off. And that's just the little bit that we're getting. But it seems like it's going to be he said, she said, or he said, and the he said from Austin's side is going to have more witnesses, I think, that are going to combat Carmelo's self-defense unless there's some video or somebody else saw it. I think the defense is going to have a really hard time. Well, the defense is going to claim self-defense. I think the prosecution is going to have an easier way to prove that there was a lack of self-defense based on the little information that we know right now.
So this is
Go
what I'm saying.
ahead.
You're a legal eagle, so you know more about this than me. Two things. Number one, this story is wildly different than the story that was initially told, right? Wildly different than the story that was initially told. The story that was initially told was that there was, context is going to matter here, that there was an altercation where somebody asked someone to move and then somebody took out a knife and killed someone.
Mm-hmm.
And it was initially mined for gold on the right by people who said that had the roles been reversed, that there would have been an outcry and that there was no outcry here because your victim is white and your alleged assailant is black. So that was used by the Kirk Shapiro, Benny Johnson wing of the internet to say that nobody cares about white lives. A hilarious thought, right? And that is not true. The actual details of what has happened is Carmelo was sitting down there. He was in a different tent. It was raining. So there is a possibility that because of the rain, Carmelo Anthony decided to go into any tent that he could. He was sitting inside of a tent. We don't know why he was sitting inside of the tent just yet. It was raining. He was sitting inside of a tent. He was asked to move by Austin Metcalf. Carmelo Anthony said no. Austin Metcalf then, according to Carmelo Anthony, made an advance, and Carmelo Anthony said, "Touch me and see what happens." He then pulled out a black knife and stabbed him once in the chest and ran away. There are a bunch of thoughts here. My first thought is condolences to the Metcalf family. That is an unspeakable tragedy to have happen to your son and then to your other son that had to watch his brother be killed. I'm wondering a couple of things. Why was Carmelo Anthony so afraid of Austin Metcalf? Why? Like, what made him look at him and be like, yo, stay back? Like, why was he so afraid of him? And after warning him, why did Austin Metcalf advance on Carmelo Anthony? Like, why? That's what I'm wondering. I think that the context under which this altercation took place is going to be very important. Did these boys know each other? Had these boys had any contact before? By the way, the entire framing of thug versus great, nice kid is a wash. You have two good students, two football players, two kids that hadn't really been in any trouble. Two kids that hadn't really been in any trouble. So, vicious thug who killed innocent kid, that out of the window. That's not what happened here. There's a story that happened here that only more investigation is going to bring to the forefront. And I'd even say this. Carmelo Anthony, when he runs from the tent, immediately tells the cops what he did. He immediately goes, yeah, there's no alleged, I did that. And he felt like he was defending himself.
And he asked, is it self-defense?
Is it self-defense? He felt like he was defending himself. So I'm not saying anything because there's so much of the information. And in doing this story, we try to look at information that had been corroborated and that was definite and not take some of the other stuff that you're maybe hearing on TikTok or social media or YouTube.
And that's what I'm trying to say. Who's going to tell the story? That's my whole point. From the information we have, it sounds like it was Carmelo. And to your point, you know, again, we have so very little. But if he did ran under the tent because it was raining, he was there with a bunch of people that weren't, you know what I'm saying? Like, they weren't his friends. It wasn't his school. It wasn't, you know, so who knows if the fear was, I'm here alone. We don't know. But my biggest concern is who's going to tell the story. Sadly, Austin is no longer here. You're not going to hear his version. It's going to be who was around the witnesses and Carmelo telling his story. Unless, to your point, there's some history there and they knew each other. Unless there's some video from a bystander who saw it. Unless, you know, one of the witnesses tells a different story from what we're hearing right now. But from what we have, I don't know. Let's just say this is all we have. I don't know if it qualifies for self-defense under stand your ground. I don't know that because the level of force used has to be proportionate to the threat that's perceived. Did Austin? I'm giving you. Go ahead.
I know you're right, but man, I mean,
I'm saying it is going to be if this is all we have, it is going to be a hard case to prove. Let me stop saying it that way. All the defense has to do is raise the claim of self-defense. It is up to the prosecution to disprove at least one element of self-defense. So the prosecution has to prove how it wasn't self-defense. So one of the ways that they can do that is saying that the level of force used by Austin was not proportionate to the threat perceived, right? But we don't know. Again, you don't know if he had a weapon. You don't know if it was Austin and 5 other people coming at him, you know, from the school. We just don't know. I'm just saying it's going to be hard if it's Carmelo's story versus everybody else's.
Right.
That's one of the things that I fear. And from the way they're even telling it, they're making it seem like he said, touch me and see what happens. Well, one of the things also is that if you're going to use deadly force, you can't provoke the person against whom the force was used. The way they're telling the story we have right now is almost making it seem like Carmelo, I'm not saying I believe it, I'm just telling you what we have, like he provoked him, like touch me and see what happens. Like
Well, let
We
me ask you
need
this.
more. You need more. It's just, and I hope they get more. And for Austin and his family, because you're never gonna be healed after the loss, as you already said. But for Austin and his family to know what happened, and for Carmelo and his family to know what happened, I hope that there's more information that comes out.
For what it's worth, Austin Metcalf's father has come out and said, "Don't make it a race issue." That's impossible. It was made a race issue as soon as we got word of everything that happened. So if I'm packing, if I got a gun on me, and somebody's about to like accost me in some way, and I show them the weapon, and I go, "Watch out!"
Mm-hmm.
Like, don't come over here. I got it on me.
Mm-hmm.
And they come over there. That's me inviting them to attack me.
I didn't say that.
I'm not saying that you're saying that. I'm asking about the law. I'm like, what I'm saying is that, like, if I tell you, hey, don't touch me. If you touch me, it's gonna be bad. Like that could be perceived. I'm asking from a legal standpoint. That can be perceived as me inviting the confrontation.
Not inviting. What I said is that you can't
provoking a
provoke
confrontation.
the person against whom. Well, if you're like, don't come near me, I have a gun. It depends, right? Am I a woman standing next to, am I the woman holding the gun and you're a 6'4" man, whatever, like twice my size coming at me and you won't stop? There's a perceived threat there. I mean, again, it's all based on the circumstances. Were they equally matched in weight? That's why I'm like, was it 5 of them against him that he got fearful and Austin was leading it? Did all of them say, we're going to get you out of here? And he's scared because 10 people are coming at him. We just don't know. We just don't know.
Yeah.
There's just a lot of questions surrounding it. But I think because it's a race issue, if it goes to trial and it's with the jury, people are going to perceive it a certain way, black or white, whichever side that you stand on. I think that's just like, you're going to see it a certain way just because of the history of black and white people in this country. I think it's just going to be hard. If they can prove one thing that shows that it's not self-defense, one element, it's not self-defense.
It's just, what the difficult thing is here? Like Darren Wilson said that Mike Brown looked like a demon Hulk Hogan. Mike Brown was 17 years old.
Yeah.
And there's a police officer with a gun. Mike Brown didn't have a gun. Mike Brown didn't have a knife. Derek Wilson was able to turn Mike Brown, a kid, into a demon Hulk Hogan.
Mm-hmm.
It's a kid, right? 17, 18-year-old kid. And say that he feared for his life, so he had to execute him.
Mm-hmm.
George Zimmerman was able to follow Trayvon Martin until Trayvon Martin was scared for his life. You in the dark, is raining, somebody's following you, they get out, they provoke you using powers that they don't have. You fight with them, you start winning the fight, they kill you.
Mm-hmm.
We have listened to so many instances here of you attacked me. Man, I posted a video on the internet and the internet was of this black kid getting called the N-word. And then he, like, fucking really impressively sidekicks the window out of this guy's car, right? Because he's saying, come out and deal with it. When you go through the comments of that, it's a bunch of white people going, blam, blam, blam. Would've shot him. It's a threat.
Yeah.
It seems like the narrative with stand your ground or with any of this stuff over the past 10 years has been, you advance upon me, I'll kill you.
Yeah.
Like, I'll kill you. Not knocking on your door, not shouting at you, not any of that stuff. But the narrative has been, you advance upon me, like you physically try to accost me, you want to do physical stuff to me, I'll kill you. I follow a lot of these stories. There's one in Florida where a guy killed a guy outside of a convenience store over an argument that he had been having with the guy's girl over a parking handicapped parking space. But on that one, the video clearly shows the man not running up on the guy. Like, it clearly shows him stopping and yelling.
Mm-hmm.
But, in this case, there's so much more information that needs to come out.
Right.
So much more information. But
death-
all of the outrage
sorry.
seems to all the outrage seems to run counter to so many of the heroes that have been made by people, the Kyle Rittenhouses and the Wilsons and the Zimmermans and all of these people.
Well, the scariest thing to me is, all right, so the person believes that there's an imminent threat of some type of bodily harm or death, right? Like, I'm scared. The other part of it is the proportionality of it, is it reasonable for you to feel that way, right? So I give the example of, and then is it reasonable for me to feel that way and then match it with a certain type of force, right? Because of the threat that I perceive. So I give the example of I'm a woman, you're a man, taller than me, twice my size. People could say, like, that's reasonable, right? She might, don't look at me like that. You're twice my size.
Come on, be careful now.
Fan.
So I know, but I'm saying
that only makes you 200 and something pounds. That only makes you 200 and something pounds.
I know. I'm just saying, like, when you said that, once again, as we talk about the Sierra thing and how Black men's feelings are, I've talked about my titty issues on the podcast. I've talked about titties. Like, literally, I was doing the boxing VR a couple of days ago, and I heard a clap. Don't know where it came from. Could have come from the titties, could have come from the ass, could have come from something. I was boxing around and I heard a clap and I stopped and I was like, yo, what the fuck? But there was a clap, something clapped.
Okay. I'm literally making you like 260. You have a problem with that?
Yes,
Okay.
I get it.
All right. Okay. So man to woman, that's easy for someone to see. What scares me with the jury, which we've seen in some of the cases that you called out, Kyle Rittenhouse, George Zimmerman, depending on what the makeup of the jury, it has been established within court cases and in society that there is a connotation of when it's a Black person and a white person, right? You look at a Black person, as you said, the way they describe Mike Brown versus the way white people are perceived in the society, of certain stereotypes that are placed on them where it's easier for someone to see the Black person as a perceived threat, but not a white person as a perceived threat. And that's where it scares me if it goes to trial. That's where it's not fair. Are they going to consider, can a white person be considered a threat? Are they gonna look at?
It's such a funny question. Think about.
But are they going to look at him and say, are people going to be able to put their stereotypes and their perceived connotations to the side of when it comes to a Black man and a white man? Or are they going to be able to say, there's no way that white man that Black man could have been scared of that white man? I'm serious.
I'm with you, but that
I'm
just
serious.
shows me.
That's what scares me with a jury is what I'm saying. Is there, because of the way Black men versus white men are looked in the society, one is described, how did he describe him? As a demon?
Darren Wilson said that Mike Brown looked like a demon Hulk Hogan. Like, he was physically so afraid of Mike Brown as Mike Brown was coming towards him. Mike Brown's a kid. He looks like a demon Hulk Hogan, is what he said, like a big possessed Hulk Hogan.
And there's a lot of fear-mongering historically of Black men and how they're described. And for some, I'm not going to say all white people, but for some non-Black people, it is easy for them to believe that is how a white police officer could perceive a black 17-year-old man. Can they flip that and say it was reasonable for, and we don't know the facts, I'm just saying in general, can they say it was reasonable for Carmelo to have feared for his life? I don't know.
So this is what he says. This is what Darren Wilson said. He said Wilson described Brown as a demon, as Hulk Hogan-like. I felt like a 5-year-old holding on to Hulk Hogan. That's what he said. Brown looked like a demon, even before the struggle ensued. So there was a physical struggle between...
And a jury believed that.
Right.
And a jury believed that.
There was a physical struggle between Mike Brown and Darren Wilson. So there was a jury. Brown says the confrontation. He confronted him at his car. So I tried to hold his right arm and use my left arm, but I felt like this is a grown man listening. He said, and when I grabbed him, the only way I could describe it is I felt like a 5-year-old holding on to Hulk Hogan. They went for that.
And they went for it. They believed it. It's this is sad in general. Somebody lost their life, family lost a son, someone lost a brother, someone lost a friend, someone lost a teammate. It's sad all around, and I do hope that more comes out so they can figure out what to do with this case.
We're going to move on. I'll say this, though. To the arguments that we were having even before about how things are positioned based upon the political sphere that you're in.
Mm-hmm.
I want you to listen to us take pause to identify and acknowledge the humanity in Austin Metcalf. How sad it is, how tragic it is. And it is sad and it is tragic, and that's who we are. I just want people to know that we're doing that. And we feel the need to do that. But that wasn't done for Trayvon Martin. That wasn't done for Mike Brown. That wasn't done for Sandra Bland. That wasn't done for Eric Garner. They do not do that in cases where these people are killed. They start digging up pictures immediately. They start showing you with your goals. They start showing you posting up with your friends. They start talking about your history. That wasn't done for George Floyd. They start calling you a drug addict, and they start immediately dehumanizing you. They did that to Carmelo Anthony. Immediately found a picture of him with an airsoft gun. It's an airsoft gun that they found a picture of him with. And so we're doing that, and we're deeply, deeply trying to litigate this because we understand what it means. Actually, we don't understand. We're trying to understand what it means for a family to lose their son. But if we're talking about all of the whatever, it just doesn't happen. Mm-hmm. And that's why, to me, when I'm looking at this, what I'm attempting to do is hold space for the tremendous tragedy that this is. At the same time, I want to know why he was so afraid. Like, I want to know why he was so scared.
Yeah.
I just want to know why. I've been to a bunch of track meets, a bunch of situations. I've been in other teams' tents. I've been chilling at a jamboree with the other squad. I know people that play for Saint Amand, or I know people, or like whatever. I've been there. I ain't never had nobody walk over and try to put hands on me and say, get the fuck up and move. And if you tried that, I don't give a fuck where I was sitting. It was gonna be some motherfucking shit. So what doesn't get talked about enough when we talk about thugs and whatever is how violent the 17-year-old white male could be. How violent the cockstrong country boy could be. and how they get down at parties and how they get down and what it is that they do. And the reason why is because they're violent sometimes. And this is, once again, I don't know Austin Metcalf or what happened. I'm talking about the perception. What I'm saying is that they get to go through phases like that in high school and in college, and then after college at the bar when they're throwing some back, and then go on to be captains of industry and farmers and all of that stuff.
Mhm.
They get to like make mistakes where they even get into a little trouble and then have those mistakes glossed over. Where with us, it's once a thug, always a thug. So we don't know nothing, and I hope that we know more. I'm just looking at this like, really, why was he so afraid?
No, but like, I ran track my whole life before college. I know again, you're looking at me like I'm crazy. Yes, I ran track. I did summer track. I'm so familiar with the whole setup, the meets, how they work, all of it. If he was the sole person under that tent, that's scary. And they're telling you to get out, I can see how that's scary. Again, we don't know, but like, you're the sole person and everybody else, there's so many people that can fit under a tent, especially depending on how big it is. We'll keep people updated as more starts to unfold from this story, but I do want to say one thing about the narrative of him having a knife that I've seen. If you've been to track meets, if you're familiar with the culture, you know that you're out there for such a long time. And what do people have with them when they're out there? They have coolers, they have snacks, they have you don't know why he had the knife. You don't know if he was cutting fruit, cutting his food that he was going to eat because you have to stay energized and you have carbs. For the assumption to be he must have been ready for something, or he's this type of person because he had a knife. He was at a track meet. It is so likely to have utensils or to have something like that at a track meet when you're out there for hours, sometimes all day if it's a weekend track meet.
Yeah. I used to carry a knife on me at all times when I was a kid.
Or it could be that. Some people do that too. But I'm just saying,
took my knife.
He has knife, he's guilty. No.
Donnie, let's get to rappers and tariffs.
Yeah, you wanted to speak on rappers and tariffs. I'm not even sure exactly what it is you want to talk about. I'm going to let you lead this one.
What do you mean you don't know what it is talking about? What do you mean?
What are we talking about when it comes to people in the hip-hop genre and tariffs?
Well, I got bad news for rappers, Rachel. You like rappers. Who's your favorite rapper right now, Rachel?
I don't have one.
You don't have a favorite rapper right now?
Tyler, the Creator.
Okay. This might not bother him because he got money. I got bad news for rappers. I was looking at all of the different industries that are going to be hit by tariffs, and this is bad news for you new niggas. Bad news. Now, for the older, more established rappers, it's going to be fine. They're going to be fine. They got money. They can absorb the hit. But I'm looking at these industries, okay? And these are very hip-hop friendly industries. These tariffs are anti-hip-hop. Chanel, Hermes, Fendi, Gucci, Dior, prices all going up. The Dior saddlebag, currently priced at $4,400, could go up to $5,200. The Chanel flat bag, all of this stuff that you guys use to attract the little Instagram models that you like, is going up. Currently priced at $10,400, could go up to $12,480. Now, you guys might be looking at me and saying, hey, that's not that big of a deal for like an Offset. But what if you got your first Instagram hit and you trying to get that girl that you always liked, that you used to see at Phipps Plaza, you used to see her at Lenox, and you want her? Bro, you might have to get another YouTube hit to get her now because of an extra $2,000. The Fendi baguette is priced at $3,400. That's going to go up to $4,100. Gucci, the Jackie bag, is going up $1,000. But it doesn't stop there. LVMH, Moet, Hennessy, Louis Vuitton, the white people that have been owning niggas for a generation now, all of their stuff going up 24%. Rach, the tricking is in trouble. The tariffs is about to have the tricking in trouble. Prada, 16%. Hermes, 17%. Burberry, 19%. Montclair, 13%. It's all going up. Jaguar and Land Rover are pausing shipments to the United States. Y'all not gonna have no Jaguars, you're not gonna have no Range Rovers. Once again, if you super paid, might not bother you. But we all know that for some of these rappers, the Range Rover is the entry-level swagmobile. That's the one that you first get. Man, you can't afford. Yeah, man. Rachel, you know these niggas. Rachel, I know you know these niggas. No, you can't afford the Lamborghini yet, the Ferrari yet. You can't afford it yet. But the Range Rover, you could get it. In Baton Rouge, if you have a Range Rover, you're so-and-so with the Range Rover. Let's say your name is Jared. You're not Jared no more, Lil Jared, Lil J. You Lil J with the Range Rover. Lil J, you're not going to be able to get that because the tariffs is stopping you from getting the Range Rover. India is the world's largest supplier of what, Rachel?
No idea.
Polished diamonds. And they will face a 27% tariff on U.S.-bound shipments of all products. Y'all gonna be failing the diamond tester. Zip, 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 zip. Fail, fail, fail. All of y'all. Lab-grown diamonds for all of y'all. A lot of y'all can only afford those anyway, and we can see your shit. We know your shit is fake. But that's okay. India, tariffs, they tariffing hip-hop. They are tariffing hip-hop. I know you niggas like to get high and play video games. Nintendo Switch, not coming. Not coming. It's not. Nintendo said no. Tariffs. Tariffs, 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 tariffs. No Switch. And we haven't even talked about the PlayStation and the Xbox and what's going to happen with the tariffs. Y'all going to be playing with the PlayStation 2. Y'all going to be playing Xbox One. Y'all better get back on that Halo. Because the new stuff, you're not going to be able to afford it. And I said weed. And I said weed.
Weaves, no.
Weaves are coming from China. A lot of the hair that you get that's coming from China, tariffs. Tariffs, tariffs, tariffs. Y'all better go natural. Because the hair is not going to be there for you. India, China, it's not going to happen anymore. Also, how about this? Sweeping tariffs imposed by U.S. President Donald Trump are set to increase prices on cannabis products in the United States, as many firms rely on Asia for manufacturing. The latest levies will stack up to any duties imposed on earlier countries. Weed and weed products. Every industry that y'all love. I'm not even gonna talk about these flights that y'all flying people out on, going through the roof. Y'all gonna be putting these girls on Amtrak. Ladies, these guys, it might take you 2 days to get to Future now. You might have to really show your love to Future because Future might have to put you on the train in Gym Pop or the Greyhound bus. Hip hop, y'all voted for Trump. We all know a lot of y'all did. And now the have-nots is gonna be even less heavy. And the haves is gonna be through the roof. Y'all not gonna be competing for the same women. Ruby Rose is out. She gonna be with the top 1%ers now. You guys with a couple hits, you can't afford her no more. The tariffs, this is a tariff on hip-hop, Rachel. It's a hip-hop tariff.
Wow. Okay. Thank you for that rant. I'm sure they will take heed after hearing what you had to say. I'm sure they will make adjustments, do what they need to do to figure it out. What I thought you were going to talk about when it came to rappers and tariffs was how the music industry is reacting to the global tariffs and the stock market is reacting, obviously, according to that. And a lot of these industries, live events, podcasting, streaming, radio, they're being impacted by the tariffs and they're losing their stocks. That's what I thought you were going to talk about. I thought you were going to talk about the fact that iHeartRadio and SiriusXM their stock is plummeting. That's what I thought you were going to talk about. Not trick. It ain't tricking if you got
Well, it's not, first of all.
it.
Okay. But I'll tell you this, Rachel. Anybody listening to this podcast for this long should have realized you have to use the bathroom. Anybody
I do.
anybody listening to this podcast this long should realize that you're smart and I'm dumb. So I think about the dumb things and make them smart. And you think about the smart things and make them divisive. So what I'm what I'm saying right now is a lot of these rappers voted for Trump.
Mm-hmm.
And they're about to get their asses kicked. And what you say is very important as well, because the stock is going down and everything's going to be more expensive. And when discretionary income is at a low and companies don't have money, you guys are going to get smaller deals. You guys are going to get less tour support.
Mm-hmm.
The payola is going to be crazier. Everything is going to be stressed. Everything is going to be stressed for these rappers. Everything, including the diamonds and the weed and the video games and the Chanel bags and all of this stuff that's a part of their experience.
Okay, top prospect Cooper Flagg had a good game this weekend, and Duke's lost to Houston in the semifinals of the NCAA tournament. Cooper was on the unfortunate side of a late game call, and he missed a potential game-winning shot. Crazy ending. Did you guys enjoy the Duke loss, or do you feel bad for the Blue Devils?
Fuck them.
Oh, jeez.
Fuck them. Fuck Duke like crazy. Fuck everybody that went to Duke besides my man Jay Williams. Jay is cool. Jay is great. I love Jay. Fuck Duke. Fuck them. I was so ecstatic. I was with Tommy Alter at this place called Walker's in New York. There were these two ladies there that I met at the bar. And I was talking to them, and one of the ladies said that she lived uptown. Two white ladies. One of the ladies, very nice ladies. One of the ladies said that she lived uptown. And then I was like, oh, with my people. And then she went, what do you mean your people? I mean, like black people up there. And then we had a whole conversation about her being a little mad that I said that black people were my people. She goes, am I not your people? And I'm like, you could be my people, but you would have to prove it first. Meanwhile, black people have to disprove being my people. So if you're a black person, I assume that you are my people. And then you have to say something to prove that you are not my people. If you are a white person, I assume that you are probably not my people, but then you can be in like one conversation. But anyway, but Duke was losing when we left, and they were winning when we left. And then when we got the word in the car on our way to this great party that Tommy had going, they lost, and I was so happy. Tommy was upset.
Why?
Because he loves Duke and Cooper Flagg for obvious reasons. Fuck him.
Because those are his people?
Nope. I can't say it.
Is that what you...
I haven't done it. I've been able to talk about things, but I haven't done it.
So we can't have the my people conversation because of that, okay.
Duke. Fuck him.
Donnie, I have a question. The way that Van talked about Austin and
Rachel,
Carmelo and the examples, which were obviously right, of talking about Mike Brown and Trayvon Martin.
No.
Yes.
That was about race.
No.
I was mulling this over in my head.
We talked about there was no way to have the conversation as we expanded it to talking about what is the definition of a perceived threat and who is deemed more a perceived threat than not based on the history of this country. You can't talk about it without talking about race. Donnie, I believe we have a strike too.
Yeah, that one,
protest.
It has to.
Protest.
Okay, let's hear your protest out. What do you have to say?
I named specific names. I did not say when a black kid, when a black man, when a black woman. I named specific names and I asked the question. I named specific names, okay? I asked the question. Now, if somebody can find me going back and saying black, then that's one thing. I named specific names and I asked the question.
Yeah,
I hope you can
I'm
roll
with Ben
it
on
back.
this one. we'll let this one slide.
Great.
This is a win for Ben.
That's fine. That's fine. I just had to. I forgot. I just had to ask. All right, so we can't have the my people.
Race counter remains at 1.
We can't have the my people conversation, even though that's colloquialism for Black people.
But that was me. But
yeah.
Hold on. I'll say something else. I can't bring up race, but race. They brought race to me.
Let's move on. Okay. You hate Duke. You hate the Blue Devils. You're happy they lost. I did not watch the game. I was on a boat in Miami with the girls. Celebrating my friend who was getting married at the end of the month.
Wieners in the mouth. I saw it.
I didn't do it.
Wieners.
Now,
I saw you guys
the question
with the
is,
wieners.
how did you see it?
Because people made me aware.
I didn't post it.
People made me aware of you guys doing wieners in the mouth. So
I didn't do it.
So when you when you have a one nigga night, was it a one nigga night?
There were 2 of us.
2 of us. So so it was a dual nigga day, is what it was then. So and so then when you're having those, you play the wiener in the mouth game. I saw you with the sperm and all of that stuff. Like, I saw you with the big sperm thing. You're getting, okay. I saw it. You had a fun time.
I had a great time.
Mm-hmm.
It's a bachelorette party, you know?
Yeah.
It was Miami. So, we did all the Miami things. Kiki on the river. 11. Nelly performed, speaking of rappers and tariffs and Trump.
Yeah, okay.
Nelly performed. We did boat ride in Miami. We had dinner at the house. It was a beautiful time. So much fun. Yeah. And it was, when you sent me the message and you said we're going to talk about this in the podcast, I turned to my friend and I said, one nigga nights.
Yeah. Or dual nigga days. Look, I hate Duke. I hate Duke.
I don't have an issue.
Okay. I hate Duke. And Cooper Flagg, who is is a very good basketball player, is the player of the year, has been anointed the savior of,
Of what?
Okay. And are we talking about Walter Clayton Jr. from Florida, who went Super Saiyan mode, a deadly light-skinned shooter? A deadly light skin going crazy? I was so happy when Duke lost, man. I'm so viciously against Duke.
Clearly.
You know who else is cool from Duke?
Who?
Austin Rivers is cool. I like Austin Rivers a lot.
Okay.
I'm trying to think of other Duke people that I like, but it's not a lot of them. Fuck Duke.
You don't like Grant Hill?
What'd you say?
Oh.
Grant Hill. He's a good guy.
Really? You don't like Grant Hill?
I do. I will say that the way I feel about Grant Hill's great. He's a great wife. Grant Hill's the man. It's just hard for me to...
You tried to make it work. Let it go.
Yeah, it's like Grant Hill, it's hard for me to be against Grant Hill. But then again, it's hard for me to be for Grant Hill because Grant Hill was part of the worst, most hateable Duke team that ever lived. This is the Duke team that set the bar for me hating Duke. But then again, Grant Hill came out and he was on Living Single with Khadijah. He was crossing niggas and dunking on. I gotta love Grant Hill, man. Grant Hill is up there. You guys are right. Now I think about it, Elton Brand is kind of cool too. Jason Tatum could get fucked. But Elton Brand is kind of cool too. But yeah, I'm happy that Duke lost. So sadness for Duke. I say something. These saviors, they've had trouble winning. Like Caitlin Clark has never won anything. When I say that Caitlin Clark has never won anything, I mean that Caitlin Clark has never won anything. Caitlin Clark didn't win in high school. Caitlin Clark didn't win in college. She's legitimately...
You mean championships, not like she didn't win awards.
I'm talking about winning. She's been awarded things, okay? But she's never won anything. She's never won. She lost to LSU. Then I think she came back and did she lose to South Carolina?
Mm-hmm.
She lost in the high school championships. She hasn't won anything. Cooper Flag didn't win. So I'm just saying.
What about Paige?
They need to do some winning. Paige won. Paige won to us, man.
Well, you said whites.
I didn't say white.
You said Paige is one of us. Why?
Paige is one of our people.
You just did what you criticize all the time.
Yeah.
You gave her a seat. You invited her to the picnic.
I'm not saying I invited her to the picnic. This is what I'm saying.
You did what you hate people do all the time.
Yeah.
Why? Because Paige posts TikToks
No.
and she's she she does all the dances.
Nah. It's more than that.
You just said, Donnie, I've never once heard you on this podcast.
Yeah.
A close second is Tommy. But I've never heard you say on this podcast, give such a compliment to a white person,
Let me tell
let
y'all
alone
something.
a white woman.
Look up Paige's family.
Donnie?
Do it right now.
Yeah, it's like your body was rejecting it. You said it under your breath, like your body tried to take it back.
Look up
This
Paige's
isn't even a
family.
strike. This isn't even a strike. This
Look up
is
Paige's family.
It's not even a
Look
strike.
up Paige's family.
This is a huge
Just do me a
moment for the
favor.
Higher Learning Podcast. You just said a white person was one of us.
So listen.
Forget the strike. We're beyond strikes at this point.
Look up Paige's family.
I don't care.
Okay. So all
And
I'm
I
saying
like
is this.
Paige. There's nothing there, but
So let me clarify. You're right. Let me clarify. This is what I mean. Remember when I said, I'm not talking about us as in that word that I'm not saying this month. I'm talking about us as women. Remember I did the you people thing at the beginning? And I said, you can be one of our people. I can say my people and mean, and that can be a multi-racial coalition. And Paige is one of us in terms of that. Like Paige was playing gospel during the warm-up. Paige came up with it. Paige been with it for a while, man. I fuck with Paige in a different way.
that makes her adjacent.
Let me tell you
to the
something like that.
culture.
She's not a you people. Paige is different than Caitlin Clark and Cooper Flag. It's
Nobody's
different.
denying that. Nobody's
saying.
denying that. Of course, yes, that's obvious. She's
Keep me accountable.
different.
I like it.
But you said she is one of us.
I'm fucking with Paige.
Donnie, I don't want anything else except for the line of Paige is one of us.
She's one of us. You
That's
said
fine.
it.
Can I tell you something? Look at Paige's family.
That's her step. It's a step. Yes, she has a brother who's half black.
Paige and
This is a
to
new
Marvin
van.
Sapp.
Is this what happens when you decide to set aside talking? You get lost in it?
Paige was raised by a black woman. That's all I'm saying. Paige was raised by a black woman. It's like, boy, I was about to make the worst comparison ever.
You're on a roll.
But I won't do it. Paige was raised by a black woman. All right? So I'm saying for Paige, it is different. For Caitlin Clark and Cooper Flag, who are like, yo, I want to be like Kobe. I want to be like Kobe. I'm a killer. That's one thing. But Paige was raised by a black woman, and that's got to count for something.
I think we should go out on a high note. Let's not talk about dire wolves.
No, let's not talk about dire wolf. Because I'm still in shock.
So it means nothing to you that Paige was raised by a black woman. Look at her family. It's different. It's different. Paige was raised by a black lady.
She's raised by a black woman, which means she is probably sensitive to certain things that affect black people in ways that people who are white and grow up in a 2 white parent home or even just a single white parent home probably aren't, because she's lived very adjacent to it.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, Paige is a blonde woman when she steps out into this world. And it's only till recent that people have really been highlighting the fact that she has black family members.
Right.
But that doesn't make you. So is Bad Baby black?
Is Bad
Barbie? Whatever the fuck her name is.
Who is
Bad Barbie?
Bad Barbie. What you talking about?
She's all up adjacent. When you, I mean,
listen.
she got a half black child.
By the way, I never said the B word. I said one of us.
I'm not Focus on the strikes.
Okay, so I said one of us. When I
You
just
can
said before, you people. Paige
Take it
is
back.
different.
Take it back.
Paige, this is what I'm saying. This is what I'm saying. So, okay, I won't take it back, but I'll walk it back. All right, you're right. I'm glad that you're holding me accountable, Donnie. I'm glad that Rachel's holding me accountable. I need to be reined in. So I won't say that she's one of us. That's too far. Okay? When I say us, I didn't mean the word, even though I'm pretty sure I used it in the Kamala Harris thing. What I would say is that Paige is a little different than some of these other people. She was raised by a black woman. Okay? Doesn't mean, but she literally is different. She's not no Cooper Flag. Cooper Flag, yo. Cooper Flag probably rapping the N-word, and he's probably like, you know, he's a Duke guy. Paige would never go to
Paige is one
Duke.
of us, so she might. Well, no, she's one of us. Why couldn't she?
I'm fucking with you, Paige. I was very happy for you.
Now, congratulations to UConn.
As far as I was concerned, I counted that as a win. Like I've been
For us.
I counted that as a win. Okay? Now, maybe I shouldn't have, but I feel like context matters. Paige is not. Paige different. That's all I'll say. Be mad at me for it. I like this new era of people being mad at me. She's not, okay, I'll put it to you like this. Paige doesn't have an entrance to the barbecue or whatever this part. I don't believe in that. However, she could come with her family.
Donnie, I think we're done, right?
So, hey, nigga.
Let's wrap
You
it up.
talking to me? You talking to me or Paige?
Tickets are on sale right now for the Higher Learning live show at theringer.com/events. We are going to have Will Smith, Beyonce, and Barack Obama join us at the live show at the Gramercy Theater. So
Don't want to miss it.
you don't want to miss it. Barack Obama is going to be there in debate with Rachel and I. Will Smith is going to premiere one of his newest movies, just 10 minutes of Men in Black 7. And Beyonce is going to do a very special performance for us at the live show. So you guys are not going to want to miss it. Okay, at the Gramercy Theater.
Mm-hmm.
Will Smith, Beyonce, Barack Obama, and maybe Michelle too. We actually might do Barack and Michelle together. We might get them together to talk about their relationship and see if we can figure some things out.
Chelsea
yeah,
wants you to
Donnie?
clarify that that's a joke.
Who wants you to clarify?
Chelsea says that's a joke. You have to clarify that that's a joke.
I have to clarify that that's a joke.
Yep.
Okay.
JK.
Okay. Maybe it's a joke, guys. Could be said just for fun. How about this? I'll say it like this. You never know if Beyonce or Barack Obama, Michelle Obama, or Will Smith is going to show up. You never know.
Yeah, that's better.
I'm not saying that they are going to be there, but I'm not saying that they're not.
But you never know.
Take your thinking caps off, but do not stop learning and don't stop wondering who's going to show up at the live show. TheRinger.com/events. I'm Van Lathan Jr.
And I am Rachel Lynn Lindsay.